Well, good Monday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods. In this last week of preseason, preparation is beginning for everybody, and I mean everybody, because this is it. One more preseason game left, and I'm believing that the Dallas Cowboys will not be playing any of their starters. Surprisingly, we're hearing rumors that Aaron Rodgers may play this weekend against the New York stinking Giants. I don't know if that's actually going to be true or not, but it'll be interesting to say the least. We, as Dallas Cowboy fans, we look at this situation here. For me, I feel so much better than I did last year about the team. I think we are a better team. I think we are young, but we're experienced. I think that we are capable of making a run. I am still concerned about the Cowboys' offensive line. We're okay as starters, but once you get past that first level of the onion, it could be bad. But be that as it may, everything all falls on one guy only, and that is Dak Prescott, the quarterback. Win, lose, or draw. And it's crazy some of the things that you hear out there. Miss Jackie shared a piece with me this morning. I'm not even going to give it any credence and stuff, but the microscope that Dak Prescott's put under. Well, one person who seems to believe in him is owner Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones said before the Seattle Seahawks game, he very much trusts Prescott as it relates to his pursuit of a Super Bowl. We're relying on him, and I feel very good about that, he said. His preparation, his presence, how team responds to him, and I believe he will get us there. And he also believes that the Cowboys are going to lift the Vince Lombardi Trophy, would have lifted the Vince Lombardi Trophy had they gotten past the 49ers in the divisional round. If you're saying those things, then what you need to do is make sure that we have enough horses in the fight. And for those out there that hate Dak Prescott, because I know there's a lot of you out there, he's a very divisive person. I don't know if it's him in particular, more so than it's just hatred that's out there. But what you have to do, and I don't care if it's Danny Dimes, I don't care if it's Jalen Hurts, I don't care if it's Pat Mahomes, is you have to get as much talent around them to be successful. You have to be able to take care of when you lose players. Because ultimately, when you get down to the playoffs, it's the cream of the crop. And it only takes one hiccup to screw you over. And this is where I believe the Cowboys, even though they've made some moves as far as the players' contracts, and one of the contracts they could to create more room would be Dak Prescott's. But the question I actually have, or the statement, is with Dak Prescott. Now, we've heard that the Dak Prescott camp, as well as the Joneses camp, of course, have talked preliminary about a contract. Nothing seems to be intimate, or you know what I mean, happening soon. Forgive me, my tongue's tying this morning. I haven't had enough coffee. Will Dak Prescott bet on himself again this year? Because here's the thing, and this is a couple ways I'm sitting here thinking about this contract situation. If you're Dak Prescott, you've had so many endorsements. You're the face of America's team. You've made more money. Your first couple of years, you were making, quarterback salaries just from endorsement, because Lord knows the Cowboys weren't paying you. You've had $40 million a year right now. You've got more money than you are ever going to be able to spend. Do you look at this and say, I'm going to take a longer contract that's more team friendly to make sure that we have more players around us? I'm good. I've got my money is there. But ultimately, the piece that's missing, you've already been Rookie of the Year. You've been Man of the Year. If you look at your legacy, the man after 29 years that brings home the Super Bowl trophy, that's bigger than an extra $10 million a year, I would think, on a contract. That now puts you up there with Aikman, with Roger Staubach. You're up there as the big three for the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what's in Dak Prescott's head or his thoughts. If it's, they didn't pay me my first 4 years, so I'm going to make sure I get every nickel, or if it's about my team and getting that trophy. I don't know. If it's about getting paid, then you bet on yourself. You don't look for, and you believe in yourself, you don't look for that contract before the season starts. You go through and say, I'm going to be MVP, I'm going to have a Super Bowl trophy, and then I'm going to bend them over. Right, Rashid? Wouldn't that be how it would work?
Yep.
So I don't know which way it goes, but what I will say is I believe, and contrary, I'm sure Rashid's going to say the Cowboys are ass and that they suck or whatever. But I have to look at this team. The best team that I have seen since the 90s was the 2017. 13 Pro Bowlers on both sides. 3 All-Pros. We had a young DeMarcus Ware, a young Jason Witten. We had a T.O. We had a Tony Romo. And unfortunately, the Giants derailed that season in the postseason. But that was the best team that I've seen the Cowboys put on the field. I feel like this team could be as good, if not better. But this day and age, you can't rely on what you start out with and say that's going to be enough. You want to make sure you have above and beyond. You want to make sure you got extra layers. And for me, I'm telling you, offensive line is the problem. And if there's one position that helps everything that you do, it's the offensive line. The offensive line opens up the hole for the running game. Running game's working, it makes it easier for the quarterback. Offensive line keeps the quarterback upright, gives him more time, helps the receivers because now there's more time for my routes to develop and for the quarterback to get me the ball when I'm open. Offensive line does their job. And you can run the ball, the quarterback can pass. That keeps the defense off the field and makes the other team one-dimensional. So when the defense comes out, they can pin their ears back and go after that quarterback. All these things you can get through the offensive line. It's just a fact. So as people keep saying, well, we should sign this running back or that running back, at this point, you get a running back, he might be 10 or 15 plays. That offensive lineman is 60, 70 plays a game. And that is the difference maker. And if the Cowboys are really serious about wanting to win that Super Bowl, that's what they look at. And if Dak Prescott is serious about that too, maybe that's what you do too. You say, Jerry, I'm going to hook you up. But you got to hook me up. I got to make sure I'm upright. I got to make sure there's holes for the running back. We have to leave no doubt on the field. And if you do that, then I'll say, hey, I'll give you that 5-year deal, that 6-year deal, so you can spread it on out. That's the way I would look at it. Now, I do want to play this clip. Peter King interview with Dak Prescott before the Seattle Seahawks game. He goes into it about the fight in practice and so on and the difference of the offense this year. Let's go to Dak and Peter King.
Cowboys Seahawks preseason game here in Seattle. I'm with Dak Prescott, the Cowboys quarterback. And Dak, I saw something this week from training camp where there was a little bit of a scrap at training camp, and you said, we're not anybody's little brother anymore.
Yeah.
So you were kind of standing up for your guys. Why did you do that, and did you feel like your team needed that?
We encourage competition and competition at the highest level. It's iron sharpens iron every time our offense goes against our defense. We both believe that we have the best units, and so when you've been having the training camp that we've had, seeing each other over and over, not getting to do joint practices, some of us not even getting to play in the preseason games, emotions just get high and they rise. And so at that point, it just got a little out of hand, and just kind of grabbing the guys and say, hey, we are family, but you have to love that emotion. You have to love that passion. And
Amen.
We aren't anybody's little brother. I've got 2 older brothers, but as we take this team,
Ain't no punk
as we take
bitch.
this field as a team, we're doing it with a lot of confidence, and that's part of it, just kind of showing of us going against each other every day.
So, how much, if at all, do you relive how last season ended? It was a bitter loss for you guys in San Francisco. 3 minutes to go, you've got the ball. You threw an almost pick on first down. You missed Michael Gallup on second. You got sacked on third down.
Yep.
How much do you relive that, or do you just flush it?
No, I mean, I think you have to use your scars in that sense. And so to say I'm continuing to relive it, it's past me at this point. But a lot of the offseason was about that. And with Mike taking over as the play caller, we went into details. And sometimes, though there's those three plays, there's a lot of details in that allow those three plays to not be successful. And that's what we've really focused on this training camp and this spring, of cleaning that up, making sure receivers are on the same page, linemen are on the same page with my drops, and receivers understanding where they've got to be and when they've got to be, just so operation just goes a whole lot smoother. So we're using the things that hurt us last year that are going to be our strength this year.
Love that.
What would you say will be the biggest difference that maybe people will notice in Mike McCarthy being the play caller now instead of Kellen Moore?
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to be able to see much from the naked eye, but Mike's an aggressive play caller. We're searching for certain looks on defense, and if we get them, we're taking those shots, and if not, we're living to play another down. And just so getting the ball out of my hands. When we've got as many playmakers as we have, Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, adding Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup, you said, a young group of tight ends, adding young rookies, it's special. And so what we have to do is get these guys in space as much as we can, give them the opportunity to make big plays, and I think that's something that's going to show.
What has Brandon Cooks brought to this team this summer?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the speed. Just the speed. You look at his resume, all the success he's had throughout his career, but more importantly, the leadership and the professionalism, how to take care of your body, how to approach the game. I think he's been amazing for guys like CeeDee and guys like Michael Gallup just to take in and ask questions. Guy that's had a lot of success, played in 2 Super Bowls, didn't win, but using, once again, his scars to bring to this team to get us to where we want to be.
How much does it burn you that all the success you've only had 2 playoff wins, and does that drive you?
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, I want to win the Super Bowl, and the only way to do that is to win playoff games. And so those 2 wins aren't going to be enough, and it's not just going to get another one. It's about stringing three or four together to make sure that we're playing in the Super Bowl and winning what we hold as our expectations, and what all these fans have as our expectations. And that's the standard when you wear this star. And so it's a high standard, but we love it, we embrace it, and that's why we've just got to lock in and just take it day by day and just make sure we're making the most of each day that we're playing.
Amen on that
Are
one.
you a better team this year than the one that exited the playoffs last year?
By far, I really believe so. And just the way that we've approached the details offensively, what we've added with the guys, as well as just the defense is continuing to get better with those young guys getting older, becoming big-time playmakers. It's going to be a great year.
Dak Prescott, good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Peter.
Love that. Love all of that. You know, they're going to try to learn from the mistakes that were in that game. You know, we're going to try and make sure that the offense, you could kind of hear it subtly that, you know, I think back to 2020 when Jalen Smith was saying that the defense was too complex, that guys were confused. The thing about football is you can't think it has to be a reaction because there's not enough time to think. You're talking about 2.5 seconds you have on average. 2.5 seconds. 1,001, 1,002, boom. That ball's got to be out. For all those out there that say, oh, well, shit, I could do better than Dak Prescott. No, you can't. No, you can't. The funniest thing that I saw was at the NFL draft. They had the deep ball set up, okay, in the NFL experience. The deep ball. They had at about 10 yards, they've got, you know, a basket or a net, the net about this big. It's supposed to throw the football in. Then they had another one at 20 yards and they had another one at 30 yards. People couldn't hit the 10-yard one. People couldn't hit the 10-yard one. Not the deep one, not the 30 yards, which ain't that deep. Ain't that deep. This idea that just anybody can do what these guys do. I'm going to tell you that to make the NFL, I don't care if you are the last guy on the practice squad, you are still an elite athlete to make it that far. How many people you went to high school with and played football with made it to the NFL and made it big time? Just going to ask you. How many of them even made it to college football? The reality is it's hard. It's tough. And the slightest thing out there can be the difference between winning and losing. A drop pass, a bad throw, a wrong route, a holding call. To win a Super Bowl, and it doesn't matter how good you are, Eagles, because clearly, I'm going to say it, you had the best team in the NFC by far. Best talent, best health, good coaching, quarterback that could have been MVP. And that was not enough for you to get it. Just is. I look at that 2007 team that had 3 All-Pros on it, 13 Pro Bowlers. I think about that team. That team was better than the New York Giants team on paper. That New York Giants team got in as a wild card, and they kicked our ass. As much as it hurts for me to say that, especially with the Giant fan sitting right there, who's probably not listening, thank God. But that day, they were the better team. And that's what it is in football. Which brings me back to my original point. Dak Prescott betting on himself, or Dak Prescott looking and saying, I want to be all in on winning a Super Bowl. I can't answer that question. Only Dak Prescott. Seen with the Josh Balls, I need some help. More than likely, the Cowboys will just wait until cuts, and they'll bring in the best that they can get out of there. But that's where we are, good people. Let me say from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And we'll be here at 9 o'clock Eastern doing our regular live stream. And the good news is Game Time and Primetime Phil are okay after the chip. I'll see you later.
Our coach here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part